Alright, we've seen it before. Hey everybody, welcome back. Team Souls Part 3. Glad to have you all. Thanks for joining me. I set everything up like last second here, so I'm kind of surprised I was able to get OBS and everything running in time for 7 p.m. But here we go. Gonna hit the ground running. Gonna go straight to one of my favorite areas in this game and in the whole series, Tower of Latria, Part 2. Archstone of the Demon Fool's Idol. The church devoted to an idol mimicking the queen gave hope to the prisoners, but the malice behind it will crush their faint solace. Pretty intense. Man, in terms of sheer atmosphere, execution, hard to beat Tower of Latria. Look at this place. Watch out for the gargoyles. Seeing these guys hover in the distance, always cool. Hopefully we won't have the same problems we did last time with the chat being all funky, delayed. Broke him. Out of all the areas too in this game, sound design wise, few I think approached this. Oh, I mean, this all is that giant heartbeat. We have a nice sound system, speakers set up, really, just that powerful sub bass coming through. Really awesome. So I mentioned this last time, with majority of the enemies you're seeing in this area being results of experiments from the old king. You can really see it, really evident here. I mean, the facial expression says it all, but like that this guy is like nailed together. Literally. True good guy. Yeah, it appears there's sometimes like a little glitch with the flames. I've noticed that. Overall, emulation, I'd say it's like 99% of the way there. There's a couple of things, but yeah, there's definitely a few glitches like that. There's a patch on the Nexus, the modding website, for a couple things, including one to fix the lens flare effect. So without that, that is still broken, but fortunately there's a mod that does fix that. Another one of the priests. Somebody should go through the game. Someone with a lot of free time. That probably includes me, honestly. Go through the game and tally up all of like the character, like the player character models that you can find, the dead NPCs trying about, Just on this playthrough alone, observing that a little closer, I have the feeling that the priest will take that first place pretty handily. This thing is almost like a giant anti-telltale heart. You know? It's like indicative of the betrayal of their king in yellow. We'll see if we can make it through all this without falling off any of the towers. I really love that red-eye trail effect the gargoyles have. Something they definitely, you don't see too many times across the series. Is Demon Souls my favorite of the Soul series? Nice streams and vids, by the way. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Is it my favorite? Overall, probably. Just in terms of... I mean, you've got the Great Souls gameplay, but I feel the presentation in this one is really killer, but... It's really neck and neck between this and Dark Souls 1 for me. I think if Dark Souls 1 didn't have maybe some of the slightly weaker moments in the second half of the game, it'd probably take the crown, but stuff like Lost Izalith kind of brings it down a little bit. That being said, I still consider it a total masterpiece of a game, no doubt. Bloodborne has an absolutely top-notch presentation, but a slight lack of build variety keeps it from being #1 for me, but I do love that game as well. Now, if I recall correctly, I believe you need a pure world tendency to get... Yeah. Need either pure black or pure white, I believe. World tendency to get over here. These guys are really great. I recall reading an interview with Miyazaki that this specific area, the whole Tower of Latria stage, being a pretty big inspiration for Bloodborne as a whole. You can definitely see that, more like Lovecraftian kind of elements. Versus maybe the more traditional fantasy stuff. I would certainly love to play Bloodborne at 60 frames per second. I think I mentioned this one of the last streams, but I am very tempted to do that mod that Lance McDonald released. That brings Bloodborne down to 720p for an output resolution, but brings the frame rate up to 60. I think that's probably a valuable trade-off considering how fast-paced the combat in that game is. Old Spice. Oh wait, I'm going the wrong way. My bad. Back up the elevator. The one time I did any kind of multiplayer in the stage, other than Invasions, a few years ago, I believe it was right before the official server shut down, and I was summoned by someone who, just kind of based on the way he was playing, his gear, I assume he was probably a new player, maybe not super familiar with the game, and I was kind of, I try and shoot multiplayer with this, you don't want to just rush through and ruin the experience for somebody, you don't want to just show them everything, kill everything for them, kind of ruins it. So I was trying to be, let them lead the way and whatnot, but we got to, right after this point, where you take the elevator down, and I took my chances doing a little bit of combat on the side, and I actually died and left him stranded, basically. Now, on one hand, I felt kind of bad. It's like, oh shit, this guy's like, he has no idea where he is. He's probably gonna bite the dust. But on the other hand, if you're looking at these games as like an immersive experience perspective, the guy who guided him just bit the dust down here, not his own. Maybe he was happy it happened. Who knows?
Are you here to fight the demons? If so, then help me escape this place. I am on your side. I have come to face the demons.
Seems pretty trustworthy. I don't know, you guys.
Thank you. I will remember this. I am certain we will meet again.
Definitely one of the most badass armor sets. Here we go. Return of the crickets and that kind of summer ambiance sound from the first stage, Tower of Latria. Like another Bloodborne element here, or something that would end up in Bloodborne. The barnacles appearing like eyes. You can see that all over the fishing hamlet in that game. This area. One of those pained expressions, indicative of the human experiments. Wow, I wasn't even looking at my health bar. God. True. Yeah, the flags in the remake, I've tried to generally, while I've been playing through this, I'm trying to try to avoid trashing on the remake art design and stuff too much, but yeah, it's just one of those things. As a matter of fact, there was on the second Demon Souls video that I made, I'm just talking about the art and stuff. There was someone, I'm not going to say his name, just because, I think respect his privacy and everything, but there was someone who commented about certain design aspects in the Tower of Latria regarding like the big statues that they added. And it's like, well, actually we had, they are there because of this, and being the big Souls nerd that I am. So, well, looking at what it says in game, just kind of these, the item descriptions and whatnot, what the former royalty wife woman is saying, it's like, I don't think that's necessarily true. And just out of curiosity, I happened to look at the guy's YouTube profile, and he said he was, long story short, he worked on the remake. And after we had this, this kind of back and forth, and it was totally polite and everything, which I completely appreciate, because as you guys know, frequently on the internet can be the discourse can be very, not polite, but he deleted his post. The conversation we were having, it just disappeared. Which on one hand is like kind of gratifying, but on the other hand is like, anyway. Yeah, you're at the Silent Chef. Exactly. Yeah, he's gonna go back to the Nexus and serve us up some nice food. Like, these guys absolutely scared the shit out of me first time I played this. I think I can hear some normal summer ambient sounds. You can hear the crickets and a frog. And there's something in the back that sounds like some kind of demonic mosquito. Alright, let me focus. But yeah, in a roundabout way, coming back to the Blue Point thing, like, I have no doubt that the people working on that, were passionate about what they're doing. It's just unfortunate that it seems like maybe they didn't look quite close enough to certain elements. And it sucks to be talk sometimes about this with people and be accused of being like a purist or whatnot, but it's like, I've said this before, by all means, I would absolutely love a Demon Souls remake that checked all the boxes. I don't think anyone, is sitting there with their arms crossed, like prepared to hate anything new or like anyone taking a new crack at it. It's just, half of the appeal of these games is that attention to detail. You know, like the gameplay is absolutely fantastic, of course, but all those details, the amazing environmental storytelling, the subtle stuff, it's like that's what pushes it into really legendary status with the presentation, you know? That did a lot of damage, my god. One more thing before we move on. Now we've talked a little bit about the Berserk references, but the design of these guys very similar to the slug count, the Black Swordsman arc, Berserk. Very, very similar. Thank you, Corpse Pile. I've been meaning to ask you too. Your avatar, that's a piece of the Earthbound clay art, correct? Oh man. I just have so much love for this area. You know, I played this 2009, and I've said this before, I believe. And I got a used copy, word of mouth, wasn't expecting much. And at first I hated it, just because of the difficulty. I liked the presentation, but the difficulty was a killer. But once I wrapped my mind around, you know, stamina management, committing to attacks rather than just being able to spam them, you know, having to wait for the follow through. I'm really happy I was able to appreciate it. I should say, I'm really happy I was able to experience it at the time, like totally fresh, blind. Is at a point, you know, it's like as far as like video games go, it's been several years since I played something that really, you know, blew me away. As far as, you know, an immersive single player experience goes. By that point, you know, it's just like going to college and stuff and playing, you know, maybe more multiplayer games for a variety of reasons. But this is like, man, talk about raising the bar. Right, Ego Orb. Yeah. 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 How crazy would it be to get a remake of Earthbound that utilized that kind of claymation style for the character models? I think that'd be really wonderful. But I also really love the original as it is. So, be a nice thing, but it's one of those games that's just like that 16-bit art style. You know, that's always gonna look good. So if that's the only shape it ever takes, I'm fine with that too. Oh yeah, I remember this elevator is quite a long one. So chill for a sec. We'll wait for that to return. With the Mother series, it's kind of nice that it's done and dusted. You know, like I know a lot of people would love a Mother 4, but there's something nice about the fact that it was, you know, the vision of one man, Shigesato Itoi. My apologies if I pronounce that wrong. Like, this is exactly what he wanted to make. He made him. He did everything he wanted to do. He's done with it. That's it. You know, it's not like a franchise that's getting perpetually milked, which is nice. Any other games you appreciate on the same level as Demon Souls? Most of From Software's output, and I should say this, Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, maybe Sekiro. I think I need to do a few more playthroughs to really decide. But other than that, I really love... I love a lot of games. I mean, Deus Ex, the original, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Half-Life 1 and 2, Ocarina of Time and Link to the Past, Earthbound. Quite a few. Sure, I'm forgetting some now that I'll kick myself later once I remember, but off the top of my head, those are my other big ones. How about you guys? What are some games that you guys rank same level as Demon Souls? Soul series. The hard collapsing and spawning these guys is a nice way of breadcrumbing you back to this right area. Because obviously this is a huge, huge area, but between that central structure, you know, like this is the biggest by far, as well as the sheer number of torches leading you back over here. And then the enemies, you know, coming back. It's a nice way of leading you back to this destination. Breadcrumbing is definitely a very sensitive thing in game design. Yeah, obviously you want to do it as subtly as possible. But it's challenging. I've dabbled a bit in that field. And as far as mechanical design goes, it's definitely interesting because I mean, games like this, anything else, you know, it's always going to be the most rewarding when the player feels like they're figuring out the solution. You know, you don't want to signpost it too hard. You don't want like the big arrow on the HUD because that's not satisfying. But if you give them enough, oh shit, is that? What's going on here? I think we're dealing with another emulator issue. Okay. So the torches and then the remains of the heart being invisible. Two problems still with our PCS3. Yeah, troop good guy, absolutely. I think that's certain. But yeah, just another nice touch, you know, the environmental storytelling that these guys are so strong at. The Yume Nikki and Rain World corpse pile. Yeah, I've played a little bit of Yume Nikki and I thought it was cool. I need to revisit that. I haven't heard of Rain World. Should check that out. Trust your guys' judgment. Troop guy, yeah, Shadow of the Colossus. I love the 3 Team Ico games equally. I think they're all really wonderful games. See, that's exactly an example of what I was talking about. Like, how could I forget Shadow of the Colossus? Yeah, that's definitely up there. It'd be hard for me to choose. I think I rank all 3 equally. Ico, Shadow, and Last Guardian. Kind of went off on a little bit of a happy tangent last time, where I was just talking about those games just having just very, very, very high presentation skills. I should say their creators having really high presentation skills in terms of storytelling and emotional impact. I've read an interview with can't remember his name, I apologize, the guy in charge of Team Ico. He talked about his design. It's like design by subtraction, I believe. So like, if we can minimize any unnecessary elements in order to achieve what we're trying to do, whether that be in terms of gameplay or the story, you know, environmental presentation, then that's what they want to do. And it's a breath of fresh air, you know? Honestly, I sincerely wish more games were of that caliber. Or this caliber when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, corpse pile, definitely. It's like, if games are supposed to be an interactive medium, I think your ultimate goal should be to realize that as much as possible. You know, if that means giving the player the freedom to just immerse themselves in that environmental storytelling, wonderful. You know, I think sometimes cutscenes are necessary evil, and there are plenty of great cutscenes and narrative-heavy games that I enjoy, but I think that whenever possible, you should be trying to convey whatever it is you're trying to convey through the gameplay. Awesome. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, the Troopka guy, the first video I made on Demon Souls earlier, actually last year, but yeah, when I was looking into the background of Demon Souls and Miyazaki's influences and whatnot, I found that interview with him on The Guardian really, really good. But yeah, you can definitely tell, you know, there's definitely a lot of similar DNA between from or Miyazaki's approach and the way it is. And thank you for his name, by the way. I feel embarrassed that I couldn't remember. Because he is definitely a god. Very, very brilliant guy. Can't wait to see what his next project is. Alright. Anyone want to take bets on whether or not we will do this first try? I'm feeling pretty confident. But I have a tendency to eat my words immediately if I ever try to brag or anything, so we'll see how this goes. So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to show it while I'm fighting these guys, but the man-eaters were something I definitely forgot to mention in terms of design aspects in that last Demon Souls video. Not the live stream, but the remake comparison one. I will say, I mean, at least in that instance, the redesigned man-eaters still appear to be man-made, but it's more of a Frankenstein monster kind of approach. Stitch together a face and whatnot. These guys are brutal. One down. Try and get up to that center podium. God! Scared me. Protected by the goblet. Get a good look at that snake tail. Yeah, corpse pile. That's a good way of describing it for sure. Good point. Come on. Oh no. Okay, we have the wombo combo. I don't think it even occurred to me that he could destroy those pillars. I don't think I noticed that before. I think this is definitely one of those fights where the lock-on can kind of do you more harm than good. So high, but still higher to climb. I think we're gonna go right ahead and keep moving into the end boss here. Given that we're not online and we know we're not gonna get griefed. King's corpse. Yeah, thanks guys. You know, this series definitely has its tropes, you know. It definitely has a very distinct, iconic visual identity, but has its, you know, some recurring design elements, but there's something about this game that I don't feel they've replicated. Something very specific, but I guess it's just that element of, you know, semi-realistic human architecture and environments, you know, that are getting corrupted by these demonic elements versus taking place, you know, in a more fantastical environment to begin with. I mentioned this in that second, like, Demon Souls art video, but like Dark Souls, right from the get-go, it's taking place, you know, literally in the land of the gods. For this, you're going from, you know, man-made, period-appropriate architecture, for the most part, to these, like, twisted, demonic versions of it. And it's a very unique take, one I'm very much a big fan of. I think the camera just did a 360 there. Almost missed him. Alright, let's take on Mr. Claus. Red Phantom Shredder. So, that appears to be Yurt's armor. Slightly anticlimactic, but oh well. This room. Let's take a look at this room, shall we? Before we move on. So, a lot of implications right out of the gate. Chairs. My assumption, I mean, this is just me, this is speculation, but from what I gather here, This is almost like that exiled king giving himself the audience he always wanted. You know, some perverse desire to be the center of attention. Whereas just based on certain elements like Fool's Idol, you know, from that we can presume that everyone loved the queen, and from the lore and item descriptions and whatnot we can pick up that she was very well loved. So maybe he felt jealous that she was playing second fiddle. Or he was playing second fiddle to her. So having returned, as the royal mistress said there, strange demons in tow. Took shape, but it was a very selfish betrayal. The artwork as well. You can see, like, okay, texture-wise, very deliberate attempt to erase the identities of whoever people are in this artwork. Like, the textures aren't super high-res, but it's very clear that the faces have been manually erased from these. Like, the guy is like the ultimate narcissist. One of these days, I think I want to load that model viewer back up. The user made. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of who made it, but lets you like take a closer look at the character and environmental models, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, whatnot. Take a look at those. Also, stained glass up here. Further self-importance, you know, to literal religious degree. Taking elements of the church below, surrounding himself with it. Then finally, the crown of thorns. That one's a little on the nose, but really cool. Alright, we'll go back to Nexus. You've earned the organ song. Another great touch. So you're getting closer to awakening this unimaginable power.
Then touch the demon inside me.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys there. Yeah, absolutely. The juxtaposition, you know, it's dynamics and presentation. If from the get-go everything is demonic and scary, then nothing is. You know what I mean?
Soul of the mind, key to
Even though,
life's
you know,
ether.
obviously it's still ominous and
Soul of the lost,
oppressful.
withdrawn from its
Oppressing?
vessel.
Oppressful?
Let
Yeah.
strength be granted so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended.
Alright, hit our dex cap.
Art thou done? May thine strength help the world be mended.
There's so much detail they put into our character model. I mean, I think this could still pass. At least her face and some of this jewelry could pass on a modern release. So much detail in there.
Thank goodness.
As much as I love the fluted set, I think we're going to put it in storage for now. I think with the dex build, you know, you really gotta, you know, you want that fast roll. And you have weapons that aren't doing poise damage so much. Towards the enemies, anyway.
We are indebted to you, for you fight on our behalf.
I can forge weapons for you, at a fair price.
Some more arrows. Yeah, that's fun.
You come back alive. I need your business.
Okay, so we've now cleared Stonefang Mine, Tower of Latria, Shrine of Storms. Got one stage left in Boletaria, and we've yet to tackle what might be my favorite overall area, if not Tower of Latria, the Valley of Defilement. Like one of the very few areas in this series that features some kind of environmental effect. The rain. There's outside of Drang Lake, in Dark Souls 2, and I believe it's snowing around Ariandel in Dark Souls 3. There aren't too many areas where you get some kind of rain or snow. Those rays of light, just another one of those little details. You know, that this is below where the light is. Literally and metaphorically. I think with the swamp type areas in this series, I think they progressively got worse over time, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But just between the visual presentation and then the lore and story behind it, I find it's very hard to top this. Blighttown looks, I think, really nice. Has really cool designs. From there, it just becomes a little bit more generic, in my opinion. Troop, yeah, I believe you're right. Thing in yellow. You're right. You know, all things considered, I probably haven't dug deep enough into Lovecraft as I should. I've only read a few stories. remember where that section with the rats is. It's after this fog gate. There's just a lot of environmental detail in here that goes a long way to selling this as a place of, you know, refuge. These hopelessly diseased and damned people. Oh god. Yeah, it's funny, you're looking at some of these textures, it's like, okay, like, yeah, that looks a little low res. But the big veiny blood sacs? Like, oh no. Those are plenty HD. Don't you worry.
Won't you buy something? My poor child is hungry. You don't deserve to die. So let me give you some advice. This place is
Pretty sure
buzzing
this is
with
the same
pests,
voice actor
fattened on a diet of souls.
as the
In order to protect
woman in the
yourself,
intro.
you must keep a lotus with you. The price of survival can never be too high, can it?
I really love the mace moveset in this game. Easily my favorite out of any of the Dark Souls games that have a mace move, you know, a mace. This is my favorite. There's something about that two-handed R2, just like swinging it like a baseball bat. I love it. I think we're good as far as anything she has to sell, though. As far as this particular playthrough goes.
Curses, I wasted my breath on you. Did that witch send you to torment me?
Well, let's see what else she has to say, actually, before we move on.
Please buy another. For the poor child. The poor child. How many years has it been? That witch Astraea came to this valley with that squid-headed knight. Those ridiculous white robes of hers. I swear I caught her glaring at my son in disgust. Yes, it's true, she is as nasty as they come. And she's a demon to boot. Doesn't surprise me. Curses, I wasted that.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably, you know, one of the most ambiguous elements of this game. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that Astraea is sympathetic to, at least, you know, somewhat. But it's one of those things that I think is really left open to interpretation, and just in terms of her true, like, moral standing, I guess you could say. The world of Demon Souls. Oh. A cool world building detail here is that the chieftain archstone shows someone wearing a plague mask, and the inhabitants now have their flesh molded by the fog to look like the same masks. It's like a twisted mockery of the practice. That is a great observation, and one that I had not thought of before, so thank you for sharing that. That is a really nice detail. Yeah, those archstones have a lot of nice detail on them. Yeah, they totally didn't need to go out as much as they did, but there's a nice little element of world building to those as well. And focus, try not to get owned by this guy. Super weak to fire. Yeah, you're totally right though, what the plague mask thing. Try and push him out of the way. It's actually much shorter than I remembered. But it's pretty powerful at this point. Love this fight. Another one of those little things. You know, usually your character in these kinds of games, very heroic, pure. Not only is the ultimate endgame of this particular world, you know, question that, but literally getting down in the muck. Leechmonger. Totally taking him out with the fire. You know, I probably should have taken this opportunity to look at him a little closer, but took him out pretty quickly. Down in the muck. Yeah, I was originally planning tonight to just go through the rest of Tower of Latria and just do the first stage here, but we're really burning through this, so let's go ahead and do the second stage. We'll go all the way to Astraea. Seems like the rain is really picking up too. Awesome vista. Now, one thing I noticed the last time I was playing this is, you know, throughout the game you've got the candles all over the place, frequently lighting it up, but this is one area of the game that you see that the candles are almost entirely burnt out, snuffed out, which, as far as metaphors go, is pretty applicable for the people in the Valley of Defilement. The relentless flies and fleas on everything. It just really sells, you know, every one of these environments, it just really sells the concepts, you know. Place for the castaway, the suffering, and the sick. It communicates that very, very powerfully. Fish, poison disease water washing up on shore. Krupka guy. Yeah, I did see the Elden Ring leak footage. You know, it was tempting. It was very tempting. You know, it's like, oh, I want to wait for the official reveal. But I did watch it, and yeah, I mean, from what I can tell, you know, it's definitely looks pretty nice. It seems like they're going for maybe a more high fantasy look, but at the same time, it's also hard to say considering, you know, that footage wasn't meant for public consumption, so maybe the game could look very different at this point. But it definitely, yeah, it looks like their most colorful game to date, and some of the visual elements, like the giant impaled, well, giants, you know, pulling the carriage along, and certain other things in there definitely seem like, you know, those classic From design, so yeah, it definitely made the wait a little more bearable, for sure. But I'm very excited and curious to see when they officially reveal it, you know? Oh my god. When this happens, the ragdolls get stuck on you. They're very disturbing, usually. Look at this. Now, I've heard, I've talked to people who have said that they really didn't like this area before, because it's like, you know, it's too hard to figure out where to go, and too big and all that stuff, and that's like exactly why I like it, you know? If the goal of the environment is to communicate the themes they had in mind for this particular area, then they knocked it out of the park. And this is another one of those examples where you start to go from the more relatable man-made environments, you know, like the ghetto of the first stage, to something even more abstract, twisted. Besides, there's a pretty obvious path, I feel. You know, it's not too hard to figure out where you need to go. The wrong direction here. Let's see. Are those jellyfish things like the lotus has gone bad? You know, that's another interesting concept. I hadn't thought about that before. The petal of a crimson flower that floats on water removes poison from the user's body. This flower became famous as an ornament of nobility because of its beauty. Widow's Lotus. This flower was fastened to the corpses of those who died of plague during their burial, but later it became an emblem of the people claimed by the disease. There's definitely a connection, for sure. That's a great observation. I definitely hadn't thought of that before. Thank you for sharing that. Stringer, they must have had a fetish for swamp levels since they have one in every game. That's true. Absolutely. Yeah, I was saying a few moments ago that I think this is by far their best execution of one. There's a painting in my parents' house that they've had since before I was born, and a friend of theirs painted it. It's kind of like some like wetlands at dusk, and I was always really enamored by it. I'd love to meet the person who painted it if they're still with us, but this area has always reminded me of that painting. If I can figure out if I can find some way to do it without it being totally cheesy, maybe I'll share it with you guys at some point. That painting I'm talking about, but it kind of captures the vibe of what I like about this, where there's, you know, like obviously in this game, you know, it's a very dark, dirty, twisted environment, but there's still a beauty there. There's like a beauty in the decay of this place. I know that sounds totally pretentious, but I really believe it. It's like one of the... somebody's burning up on the torch there. I've noticed that before. Sacrifice their own to keep the torch lit. Speaking of things I had noticed before, the last time I played this, I was grabbed by one of these mosquitoes, and I saw their grab animation, which I had never seen before. So let's try and get it to happen. Just to show you guys, because it is super gross. So I'm gonna leave one of these guys alive here. Try to get him to do it. Alright, let's see it. Come on. That is repulsive. Oh, God. We appreciate all these details in 4K. Ooh, never noticed the spirals before. Wait a minute. What year did Uzumaki come out? Hold on a sec. By Junji Ito. If you guys haven't read that or heard of Junji Ito, he's a manga artist, usually does horror stuff. He's really good, really great art, really inventive, really cool stories. Uzumaki is the spiral one, all about the spiral. It's basically bunch of connected short stories about. I know it sounds crazy, but the horrors of the spiral. A lot of cool inventive concepts, and one of them does involve Slug, and I have to wonder if that's a little reference to it. Not into a lot of manga, but that's definitely one that I can recommend without hesitation. But obviously, stuff can be a little gross viewpoints, but I think it's all pretty good. I think he's a pretty tasteful author and artist. Alright. Good focus. Save my turpentine for the boss. Keep trying to roll. Ooh, black turpentine. I didn't even realize we picked that up.
Hey, I know you. Won't you buy something? My poor child is sick. He needs your help.
Oh, yeah. So I mentioned earlier the, not tonight, but previous one, the Gondor Knights, Lord of the Rings. Just like straight up their armor set. Capture souls. We're doing pretty good as far as the leveling up is going, so why not?
Finished already? I only want my dear boy to be happy.
See if she has any additional dialogue.
Please, but this place is a proper mound of rubbish. All the rot of the world, living or not, ends up here. I thank the stars that I still have my boy. Ever since that demon witch came here, everything has turned foul. This was a much better place before she came. I was the apple of every man's eye. You're here to rid us of her, aren't you? Well, don't show it any mercy. Finished already, you?
I think it's worth pointing out that there is a character model of a young boy, a child, still inside the game files. I don't think it's necessarily clear where he was supposed to be, but he does, he's wearing like rags and stuff, so I mean it's possible that the boy she's referring to, her son, did originally exist here in some capacity. It's also interesting that it's like there are multiple times within the Souls games that some kind of child character was developed and then ultimately not included. Probably most notoriously with Dark Souls 3. Ocelot. Like you see Osiris, in the final build carrying, it looks like he's carrying a baby, but in the game files, if you guys haven't checked it out, or I'll give a shout out to Lance McDonald again because he dug that stuff up and pretty gruesome. And then with Dark Souls 2, you have the child version of Found a lot. Emerald Herald. All part of the time travel plot that was originally cut from that game. So you can see here clearly the guys strung up. Oh, wow. Alright. Trooper guy. Not sure how you would feel about it. As you appreciate world building, you might like Red Dead Redemption 2. It has an insane dedication to crafting a believable world. Extremely impressive game. It's definitely on my list of stuff to check out, for sure. Oh, I'm poisoned. Jeez. Oops. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. Next time it goes on sale on Steam, I'll probably pick it up. I wish the baby squash is still in the game. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely far. I'd have to listen to it again. You know, it's definitely pretty hardcore. I do wonder if they just decided, like, no, this is too much, or... But I think it probably would make that fight a little bit more memorable, in one way or another. Shuttle. But Dark Souls 3, you know, I put a lot of hours into that game. I think I have nearly 700 on Steam. And as much as I love it, looking at some of the cut content, you know, some of the original concepts they had for elements of it, it really makes you wish they had a little bit more time to develop it. You know, just like another 6 months or something. Going backwards. It's like it seems like originally they had, you know, there's something similar to World Tendency where we're able to really change the not just like the status of the world, but how it actually be visually represented. That certainly would have been cool. Up the dark into Dark Souls. Yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. Yeah, exactly. You know, as much as it sucks to have to like wait so long for Elden Ring, you gotta remember, almost every one of their games up until this point, I think maybe Bloodborne excluded, had to be rushed. They had stuff that had to be cut, they didn't have enough time for everything. Because Bandai Namco, or maybe Sony with Bloodborne, is calling the shots in terms of, you know, dev time. And, you know, probably with this as well with Sony, as far as that that entire cut world, Northern Limits. But yeah, it sucks to have to wait for Elden Ring, but it'll be worth the wait if that means that they can finally 100% realize their vision with no compromises. Then they can take as much time as they want, in my opinion. You know, I know I was talking to a friend of mine about this. He's like, oh, same thing with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. Oh no! Shit. I was like, okay. The difference is, From has consistently been putting out games constantly. Like a 2-year schedule for several years. Just popping out, like, hit after hit after hit. And, you know, CD Projekt Red, they had their Witcher games, of course, and I really like The Witcher 3 a lot. But very different set of circumstances. Alright. I just messed up dropping off there, so I'm find a way back. Oh, it's like right at the shortcut too. My bad. Try and zip through this as fast as I can. Fortunately, as I mentioned earlier, it's all telegraphed pretty well. Breadcrumbed. Torches in the way. God, get off me. Ugh. $18 lotuses. I think we're gonna be okay for poison. Yeah, speaking of Dark Souls 3 cut content, you guys remember that first batch of the leaked screenshots? I think it was from like a YouTube channel called The Know. Maybe it was a website, but something called The Know. And you could see, I mean, there was Lothric, but it was very, very dark, you know, at night. A screenshot of looking up at Lothric Castle and the dancer standing in front of the character model, suggesting that maybe you could have talked to her, like an NPC. And then there was a really crazy one where it looks like it was the eclipse happening. There's like a giant snake-like abyss monster in the distance that just looks like absolutely gargantuan, like building-sized. And I mean, and everything other than that, you know, kind of exists in some form or another in the release game, but that is just completely cut. So I'd really like to see what that was or what the plan was going to be for that thing. Fall off again. Oh boy. Yep, you guys know. You see, I'm really happy to be able to like talk with you guys about stuff like this because it's, you know, you don't often get the chance to. So I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in and being able to chat about these topics. Yeah, Osiris, or excuse me, not Osiris, Gundyr, with all the soul swords in the ground. Looked super cool. Absolutely. Right. Dirty Colossus. If Leechmonger is literally a natural, a manifestation of natural elements, leeches and whatnot. This guy's similar, but of the man-made. On V. Yeah, I should check that out. Do we know if Elden Ring will be next gen only? I don't think we do. Let's check the website. Let's see what it says. I'm on Elden Ring website right now. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't say anymore. I would imagine at this point it will probably be... I think we'll still see it on PS4 and Xbox One. Of course, with I think there'll also be dedicated, next-gen versions as well. I'll be grabbing it on PC, so either way is fine. Alright. Continue now to the most tragic, inflicted boss fight, probably this entire series, and that's saying a lot.
Go forth, Galvinland. May you be unharmed.
There's really bold shades of red here.
Leave us,
Really
Slayer
effective.
of demons. This is a sanctuary for the lost and wretched. There is nothing here for you to pillage or plunder. Please, leave quietly.
I don't want to say too much. I just want to enjoy the music here. Okay then. I think that's actually the first time I've ever been killed by those things. That's alright though. I knew I was doomed as soon as I fell off that cliff. God, it's funny how just something as simple as color could be so effective communicating something. This is like just pain distilled.
You will not turn back, will you? I shall let no harm come to Maiden Astraea. May you rot in the deepest depths of this swamp.
Oh god.
Plunged you to death,
Oh?
and let the acid melt the flesh from your bones.
I've never heard him say that line before. Unbelievable. Alright guys, no more fooling around. I'm the only person to not just get killed by those plague babies, but to get killed twice in a row. Worth it to hear that piece of dialogue though. Let the acid melt the flesh from your bones. Wow. Like that. Take a close look at the Maiden. Now, in terms of it being debatable, I mean, obviously, there's some element of self-sacrifice going on here. But she is also surrounded by gold and trinkets, what have you.
You killed him, didn't you? Very well. I can no longer resist you. Do as you like. Take your precious demon soul.
Babies stick around? They do. If I'm able to grab those souls. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, we don't worry about those souls. Let the plague babies have them.
Beware the limits of your own power.
Thou seekest soul power, dost thou not? Then touch the demon inside me. Soul of the mind, key to life's ether. Art thou done? May thine strength help the world be mended.
You know, I was originally planning on, I think I mentioned this earlier, just doing the rest of the Tower of Latria and then maybe half of the Valley of Defilement. But we just kind of burned through them in half the time I thought that was going to take. So, finish this tonight. Last stage of Boletaria. As Troop mentioned earlier, Plague Doctor mask on there. Similar to those enemies whose faces have twisted into this like warped version of it. That was a really great observation. So yeah, I think we're gonna buy some arrows and head back to Boletaria.
I can forge
Confront
weapons for
King
you,
Allant.
at a fair price. Do come back alive.
The King's Tower, once a symbol of Boletaria, is now ridden with dragon claw marks, with only the old king watching all from his broken throne. So I didn't pick up on this the first time I played through this game, but the fact that these 3 red phantoms are like the human forms of the bosses you've encountered up until this point in Boletaria. It's a nice detail. This guy being the penetrator, of course. All formerly respected high-ranking knights, corrupted by the demons. Her being phalanx. A lot of firsts in this playthrough. Her using Firestorm is among them. No. Fight fire with fire. Ooh. Uh-oh. Sure. Try and take him out with this. Completely forgot about that. Ugh. Alright. So we'll go fix our sword and then we'll come back.
Hello? You have a...
I can... You...
Alright, sorry about that. One more stone. load up. Go upgrade our weapon before we fight Allant. Ooh, shit. Tougher than I remember. Try and be the parry god. Oh my god. It's like we're like experiencing the classic Demon Souls PvP experience. Alright, repair our stuff, we'll just run past this guy. I don't want to get hung up on this. Like part of the floor didn't load. Okay. He not only broke my armor, he broke the emulator as well.
Back alive.
Here, can we see down into the... Yeah, what the hell is going on? Stuff is getting all sorts of freaky. And the game froze. Okay. Jeez Louise. Take care, troop. Thanks for hanging out, man. Let me restart the game here. Again, sorry about that. Give me one sec, guys, sorry. What is going on? Alright. We appear to be back in business. Yeah, I'm sorry about all that stuff. Frustrating. But should be good to go now. Sounds like the audio is starting to get a little buggy. Alright. Yeah, for the most part, this stream, everything's been going really smoothly. I hate to have all these technical hiccups happen when we're approaching the finish line here. Final dragon encounter. I heard that pain noise all the way over here. This part's always a little tricky. Dragon looks great. I don't want to risk it. Right. Our friend getting rested.
Leave the flying wizard to me! I will train upon a war, and I've thrown Boletaria!
So it looks like the emulator isn't drawing all the flames correctly. A little bit harder. Too hard.
Oh, it's you, is it? My father was up. Well, what's left of him anyway. He's transformed into a fiendish demon. I began this quest in a search for truth, but it seems I was a fool to even try. Please. Degenerated state. You can only bring peril to the lands. This key fits the Boletaria mausoleum. Inside the mausoleum.
Yeah, I don't think
are my
viewers gonna
father's
make it.
two swords, soul brand and demon brand. Use them to put an end to this madness.
I really like this environment in here. Really punchy. Red carpet. Strava. Immediately cast the same fate as his other brethren. That ambient sound. Really great tension building moment. Slow, long ascent of the elevator. Now, remember somebody mentioning last time a bug happening with the dragon repeating and not hearing the music. So if that happens, I'll just reload the game because you gotta have King Allant's music. It's like the best in the game. There we go, finally some peace and quiet. Yeah, sorry guys, it's too bad. You know, this has been a pretty glitch-free experience up until this home stretch. Ride the elevator one more time. Appreciate the ornate iron work. Pittsburgh King. Ooh. Forgot about the range on that. That soft lighting on his character model looks really good. Oh no! Anyone else hasn't gotten hit by that one. Alright. Fire's marginally more effective. Awesome arena.
How did you defeat my precious demon? No human has an appetite for souls such as you. The rest is up to the Old One. If it is to be, then you shall be back in again.
Much atmosphere. There, blue strawberry. Guys, here we go. Endgame. Thomas, do you have anything to say about this?
Thank goodness you are safe. I was worried sick about you.
No.
We are indebted to you, for you fight on our behalf.
The sub bass is awesome. Like, fantastic sound design.
Hark, I hear a voice of yore. The Old One is calling for thee. Let us proceed below to its lair.
Still see those other elements of the Nexus's architecture. Those different arcane designs, the metallic stuff in the back of this.
wisheth, thy new demon. Come now, be good.
It's an awesome shot. Okay, now before we move forward, let's take a look around back up here. First thing I want to point out, and I can't believe I didn't mention this in any of those other Demon Souls videos, is that this spot, specifically this angle here, is the same shot you see in the intro cutscene with all the robed figures walking along the beach. Architecture is the same. You have like the crumbling archways. This one where it has kind of like stalagmites coming off the side of it. Very cool design. Also, this whole area up here is a lot bigger and more explorable than you'd think. Now, there are no items or anything up here. There's nothing to find, but I love that it gives you the opportunity nonetheless to just come up here and kind of look around. Like a vast wasteland. I also wonder if the very last area in the Dark Souls 3 Ringed City is a reference to this. Or if it's just a kind of one of their like trademark kind of designs. They're kind of like almost melting architecture in the middle of a desert. But definitely pretty similar looking. Also kind of amusing that your character can't get over these little blocks, but well. Yeah, I'd love to do a little no clipping and just start exploring out here. You can see too, there's some elements of it's almost like a mix between like rock and bark. We're not quite sure what those structures are made out of. Like semi-organic.
Let us proceed below to its lair.
Sound design here. You have decent bass, subwoofer, you know, a good pair of headphones. Just sounds incredible down here.
Whatever your choice, you are our first visitor. May you be welcome here. Surely you have seen for yourself pain, suffering that fills this world. But fight poison with poison. God is merciful. So created the Old One. The Old One will feed upon our souls and put an end to our tragic realm of existence.
Just trying to get a close look at him. See if there's any kind of human element still in there. Imagine if I died to him. Yeah, there's no more humanity. Put him out of his misery.
You are fool. Don't you understand? No one wishes to go on.
Soulbrand.
Thine work is done. Slayer of demons, go back above. The Nexus shall imprison thee no longer. I shall lull the old one back to slumber.
Okay guys, now I know that up until this point we've been playing a pretty morally good character, but I really gotta hear that evil ending music, so say your goodbyes to Maiden in Black. I hate to do it, but I gotta hear that sweet music. They really lay it on thick, huh? Make you feel like a monster.
The Old One sensed a new and powerful demon by its side. And before long, the world will be engulfed by the deep fog. Bring more souls.
In a series full of legendary pieces of music, this one's probably my favorite. Blue Strawberry, I agree. Definitely. You know, it's been a while since I've heard that one as well. Ah, now I'm regretting my decision. Oh well. Next time. Next time, we'll do the right thing. Frog Nation. Voice acting coordinators really do a phenomenal job. Best in the industry, in my opinion. And Shinsuke Kida, the composer, they gotta bring him back. I'd love to hear some more like experimental type music for Elden Ring. You know, towards the end of Dark Souls 3, it's all good. It's just starting to get a little, it's like the unending choir and like bombastic stuff starting to feel slightly redundant. So I'd be curious to see, what. I apologize, I can't remember her name, the woman who composed most of the music for the last few Souls games. Because I know she's writing music for Elden Ring. I'm really curious to see what her approach is going to be for it. So I thought Sekiro had a good soundtrack, but maybe not as memorable. Thanks everyone at the 2009 Anime Expo. Love you guys. The Beast Demon Soul. We are a beast.
Soul of the lost withdrawn from its vessel. Let strength be granted so the world might be mended.
Back at the Nexus.
Soul of the lost
See, she's alright.
from its vessel.
We only stabbed her in the back,
Let strength
stepped on
be
her face.
granted so
She's
the
alright.
world might be mended. So the world might be mended. This is the Nexus. It holds together the northern land of Boletaria. Thou canst not exit the Nexus, but each of the 5 archstones will connect them to it.
Okay. Well, that concludes our Demon Souls playthrough. I was expecting this to last 4 sessions, but it did in 3. I really want to thank you guys those of you who have joined me on these live streams, those of you who have maybe checked them out afterwards. This is like a teeny tiny YouTube channel, but I'm going to start trying to put more regular content out on it, and I'd love for you guys to join me, stick around. There'll be more Souls content probably in the future, but it's probably not going to be the main focus of this channel. There is going to be another proper video coming pretty soon. I finished writing most of the script for it today about another game. We're going to go in detail looking at that from both, gameplay as well as a presentation perspective. That should be out within, let's say, a week or 2. I would have gotten started on the video aspect already, but something I ordered arrived broken the other day, so I need to get another one. It's going to allow me to grab footage for said game. Yeah, I'll be doing more live streams too, so I can live stream stuff from my computer, consoles, and I also set up everything I need to do retro streams as well. So before the next video, we may do another stream of some kind. And yeah. So thanks again. Thanks to anyone who commented, who stuck around. I really appreciate it very, very much. So I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna grab a bite to eat, but I hope everyone enjoyed this little playthrough, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.